Blessings, everyone. Today, I would like to offer a quick message for the collective, for messages from the guides. And this is a beautiful oracle deck from James Van Praagh, who is just the most incredible soul. And because it's been such a very intense energy, we have had so much astrological things happen recently. I know a lot of people have been taking a break from social media or just kind of sitting with things. We've got a lot going on, all of us right now. There's been a lot of shifts, and so we're in this brand new energy, and we're kind of getting our bearings a little bit. And so I've been really sitting in the stillness and asking the guides to come through and help bring something to contemplate, something to consider as we're moving through this energy, to kind of give us a nudge in a direction. Because sometimes when something is new, I know many of us had tower moments recently. That's something I've been seeing with a lot of soul family on social media, is that everybody's got these tower moments or these aha moments. And with that, it's just been something small like this, like a little message from the guides, can center everything and help us just to find a little focus. So with that, first I would like to say thank you to Source for allowing me to be a medium of light. And I ask all the guides to step forward in their many beautiful being of light forms to help bring a message for the collective, for our highest good. Thank you. I'm so very grateful. And then I just shuffled 3. Source, Spirit, and then for Soul. And usually I move the cards around and they'll just pop one out, or they'll tell me which one to take. I just move it around like this. Sometimes it comes out, sometimes it raises up, and whoop. Okay, so we have one. Thoughts create your reality. And I'm opening, and I can feel the energies moving forward. The first thing that Spirit is saying is thoughts are things, thoughts are things. Such a powerful message. Many times we've heard they're saying, so many spiritual mentors or those of us who do the full spectrum of readings and healings and talks have always presented this space that thoughts are things. Thoughts create your reality. And this has been something on a personal level for myself. They're coming through and teaching me and reminding me as I'm reading this that it's so imperative. Because when we're in the fullness of spirit, as they are, we know that we're not speaking, we're not communicating the same way. So we're communicating directly from one fragment of Source, one spark of Source to the other. So there's no ambiguity when we're communicating in fullness of spirit. Or when spirit is communicating with us, they're using our frame of reference. So they're dropping in these little ideas, thoughts, messages, sending signs, synchronicities, the whole aspect of all of this. And sometimes they have to give us a little nudge with an idea that pops in our mind, or an idea that will infuse an emotion of feeling, a knowing. But we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. And this is one of the most difficult aspects of being here, is recognizing that with our free will, we have the right to have these ideas and these thoughts and process these the way that we feel comfortable, the way that's most powerful for us. But we also have to recognize when certain things are looping in our awareness and creating a space to stay in bad habits or in a frame of consciousness that's no longer serving us. And it's so easy when it's comfortable and familiar to go back in these places. And we have to understand as well that even something simple like listening to music that's got negative connotations, that's just barreling anger at us. Yes, we may be feeling that, and it's okay to have a bad day. That's not what this is about. This is about co-creating the life here, co-creating with the lessons that we've come here to learn, to make it become the most important and profound space. And with that, we have to be very mindful, very aware of what we're keeping in that space, how we start our day. Something simple, but Spirit reminded me this morning, pick up the singing bowls. It's been a while. Use the heart chakra singing bowl and just open that heart space up. Go into your meditation. The very first thoughts we have when we wake up in the morning are so imperative in that beautiful new beginning that we're given each day. That sets the tone for everything. And sometimes things will go awry. We're going to have things where maybe we don't want to think of something. We don't want to think of the car payment or the mortgage, or we don't want to think of the doctor visit and the blood results we had, or maybe we're having some difficulty with family members and we don't want to think of this. There's a lot of things. And sometimes we're overthinking. Sometimes we're in that space where it feels like everything's triggering us, and we can't figure out why. We're been bombarded on the internet with all kinds of negative stuff, and maybe it sets that tone, and then we feel a little anxiety, or we're a little nippy with each other, and but we have to recognize that if we feed that, those thoughts, and they keep using this idea of all of these medias that we use, whether it's listening to music, or we're watching movies, or maybe we're engaging in sports, that we have to remember that thoughts are things, and this energy that we take in, especially for the empathic, that resonates with us, that festers. We want to move that energy. If we're listening to a song and it's just raging, don't keep that in. Move that energy. Because what happens is, it feels good in the moment, but now we've just aligned ourselves with that. We've placed that energy in our energy system. It can settle in places we're not even conscious of. We can wind up having stomach aches or headaches, or it wears down our immune system. All of these things in the headspace, constantly thinking, festering. We want to be able to have a thought and have enough mastery and control over this, that we are observing them, that we can step back. Because sometimes thoughts will trigger the emotions. Ask ourselves, we've been taught this many times, they're saying, what does it feel like? It's so important. We like to disassociate the logic, the process of thoughts, the process of these things in our mind, and separate them from emotions. But the emotions help us navigate. What is that triggering? If we suddenly watch this really gut-wrenching movie where the ending was absolutely horrible and we're sitting there in tears, we know what that's doing. It's making us sad, or it's bringing out the empathy in us. How can we use that then? Can we go do something that's going to process that? Maybe call a friend. If you're creative, you might want to draw or write a song, write poetry. Be mindful of the energy that we're moving, because thoughts are things. We're imprinting our creativity with this emotion. Others are going to feel it and experience it on some level. They might not even understand. Or we might be in that space then, we've watched this movie where we're crying, and now we have to do something like make our next appointment for the doctor. Do we want to go in that mind frame of creating another space in that energy? Maybe we need to step back and wait until we've moved the energy and then create it from a positive space. If we start our day and we're we're screaming and we're in a space of anger and we're vamping up this energy, and it's got nowhere to go. Sometimes going for a walk isn't going to move the energy. You have to feel the emotion. You have to connect with that and move that out of your body. You have to move that out of your energy system. You have to do something equal in that energy to move it. You can't take a big raging fire and put it out with a feather. How do we get the fire out? The fire is like a raging phoenix. I know they're showing me. I swim. Or I sit and I create my poetry. Something simple like pulling out weeds in the garden. It's an equal energy that we can move what we've created in the thought. We can also create these thoughts that become our reality to change a perspective or paradigm that we've been looping in. But the most important part of all of this is the thoughts that we have about ourselves. Now, all of us have the challenges sometimes where we're looking in the mirror and we're having a bad day. Maybe we're very self-conscious, whether it's our weight or our hair. All these little idiosyncrasies that we focus on. We have to be gentle with ourselves and realize that the big picture is, before we came here, we decided these things that we were going to explore. Okay, maybe it's a day that we look in the mirror and we're not feeling our best about our physicalness. Let's use that idea that thoughts create the reality and see that as an opportunity of how we can be gentle with ourselves to shift that. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to look in the mirror and feel good in a few hours, and it doesn't mean that if we go for a run, we're going to lose 10 pounds in a couple of days, and then we're going to feel good about our bodies. But we have to go a little deeper than that. We have to create the thoughts that become reality, that we say, I'm doing the best that I can with this energy right now. And I know that if I shift my focus onto other things, go from the thoughts to the space of the heart, let those emotions come through a little bit and work from there. Love, trust, understanding, compassion. And it's something simple. I know everybody knows this. They're saying, talk to ourselves like we have other people that may need our encouragement. Don't take in all the energies either from others. If you're empathic, don't let that sit in your energy field. Run that energy, clean the chakras out. However, whatever practices that we have to do these things, so these don't become thoughts. And also they're bringing up the idea that we don't have to fill in the blank. If we're kind of at a standstill with something, maybe we're having a disagreement with a friend or a loved one, and we can't come to a resolution, or maybe we reached out to someone and they're not responding to us in the way we were hoping, or they're not responding at all. We don't have to fill in the blanks. We don't have to sit down with that and start letting that monkey mind run where we're making up ideas and triggering emotional responses, filling in the blanks of, well, I made the phone call and they never got back to me. Maybe they're angry at me, or maybe they didn't enjoy the conversation the last time we had it, or maybe I was too hard on them, or so many different things that we try to reason. We're using our thoughts, and then we're triggering these emotions, which is almost like setting the seed in the dirt. We're planting these seeds and growing them ourselves, not even giving anyone the opportunity to give their view or their expression from their side of it. And also Spirit is recognizing that many of us are empathic, and sometimes what people say don't always align up with their energy. You can feel there's a disarray there. And that's very disappointing. It's disappointing because we can feel those things. But one of the most powerful ways to master this is not to let that go right into the head right away and start thinking about that. Okay, they're saying that they're fine, or they're saying that they've forgiven us, yet their energy is completely opposite of every word that's coming out of their mouth. And the first thing we might want to think is, why are they hiding this? Why are they lying? We're thinking now. We're thinking and we're triggering emotions, and we're going into this energetic space where we're creating the thoughts become that space of reality for us. Now not only have we convinced ourselves of something, but we're going to start to react and create that reality, because we're going to be moving from there. We're going to be making decisions from there. We're going to be emotional from here. And we have to understand that we have to observe. Step back. Okay. Instead of creating the thought process into reality of this, observe. I know they're saying that everything is okay, but their energy feels really, really upset right now. Let's leave it. Let it be. Sometimes we can't address the higher self. We have to address their personality. That's their processing. It's not ours. Allow this. And when it's ready and we've created our reality from our thoughts, stay positive as can be. Don't take the energy in. This will give us that space. This will give us that space to allow them to align and then come back to it. Move away from this and just let them align with it. And maybe they won't. We have to let it go. Maybe they're going to say what they want to say, and we're going to feel what we want to feel. And this isn't going to come to a resolution. We have to just kind of leave it as it is. We've moved into a space now where not a lot of us have to keep revamping up the karma. We're releasing karma. We don't need to have the karma anymore. We're working on our own shadow work. We're working on expanding our awareness. We're working on self-mastery in the sense of working with the ego as a tool, understanding the emotional body, the energetic body, all of these beautiful things we're exploring now. We don't have to have this weight of these karmic interactions. And we don't have to keep creating this reality from this idea that the mind can be mastered. We have to understand the tools of this. Allow our hearts to open. Our soul will propel us forward, will help us navigate the way through. Once we've let it sit in our heart and we understand that, we can navigate from there. We don't need to create the reality from the ideas. Imagination works beautifully because what it does is the beautiful mastery of mind is the map. It's the how-to. It figures everything out at the end. It creates all the details that need to be created to notice that everything is being brought into our awareness. It's the mastery of the actuality. And we can only do this when we let the mind, in mindfulness, be the last part of the puzzle, when we want to bring all of this forward, when we want to notice what's already around us. And one of the biggest ways when we're communicating is to open up the heart space first. Feel. Don't be afraid or don't be worried about what others are going to imagine from us because we're doing this. Just stay in the heart space. Let the soul move you forward if it's inclined. We don't have to logically figure out everything the heart is feeling. We don't have to come to a resolution all the time. Sometimes we have to be comfortable with not having the answer. It is what it is. Sometimes There isn't any answer the mind has that's more powerful than what the heart feels. And that's okay. It doesn't make us weak. It doesn't make us irrational. It doesn't make us illogical. We understand where to navigate then. We're creating a mastery. We're creating that space of consciousness in expanded awareness that doesn't create loops. You can't loop when you're coming from the heart space. You can loop in your head. You can loop when the monkey mind takes over. This is what Spirit is saying. Because we're always trying to process everything. We cannot process emotions through the mind. We can ask ourselves if they serve anything. Well, I'm feeling very angry right now. Is this, using the logical mind of mastery, is this going to serve me in some way? But we don't have to always sit down and analyze everything. We don't have to break it down into pieces. Sometimes we just have to feel. Start from here. Because now the thoughts are being processed through the heart space. It's being expanded, explored, expressed. And this is the key. This is the key to stop creating those negative realities for ourselves, to stop going backwards into bad habits, to stop conditioning ourselves. Or the thing that we tell ourselves sometimes is that, well, I have to be aware. You're thinking of things, being prepared so we don't get our hearts ripped out, having the defenses up. I seen it coming. We could see the train coming. It's not going to stop it from hurting. That's it. Once we understand this, it shifts everything. We're never, ever going to be as prepared as we hope emotionally by using the mind. Controlling the emotions. There's some times that we cannot, when we have something coming up, maybe you're in an accident, you have to think quick. You have to set some of the emotional content aside so you can process this and get through it. We've all been in that space. We don't want to stay in survival mode though. There is a function for that. That helps us to feel our feels when we're safe. We're in a safe space, but we have to be able to recognize when that is. Blocking out emotions doesn't put us in a safe space. That's a choice. That's using the mind. That leaves the heart even more vulnerable at the end, because we're creating that thoughts are things reality of a disconnect between one, the beautiful diamond mind, and that open heart space. And so a Spirit is pulling their energy back now with this beautiful reminder to try to stay in a good space. We may not be able to avoid, you go to the store and there's that energy maybe in the shopping mall where everybody is kind of, in a rush and in a chaos energy, that we can just be centered. This is the most difficult thing for empathic people in an expanded consciousness, to be in this energy. But we chose to be here. We believe we can do it. We don't want to let ourselves down through this journey. Every little bit, the old saying, try again, don't give up, keep trying. Eventually we'll get there where we understand these things. There's a lot of clarity. The process becomes easier. And we don't have to it becomes like breathing. It just flows. It's not something that ever has to be thought about, or we don't have to put ourselves into this space. It's just a natural way to be. It's a natural part of our being then. Thank you for allowing me to share this. I've learned a lot today listening to the guides. This has been a powerful reminder. And sometimes it's going to take a while. We're going to revisit certain things that we thought we've mastered already, and we're just going to go back and say, well, There's a different way now. Things have changed, and I need to find a new way of going back into this space. But just know that we're not alone. And as we reach out and we share these things, whether we're doing card readings or we're on social media and we're talking to soul family and just explaining where we're at and things that we've learned and explored along the way, we're lifting each other through. We're giving that support, and that's everything. All my love and many blessings, everyone. Thank you.